and welcome back to Pokémon Y. This is the part where this game's plot starts getting a little bit wacky and out there, and to start us off, here's a fucking beast to join us along the way. Ladies and gentlemen, I have brought in Dragonite, arguably my favourite Pokemon tied with Charizard. This is my team as I want it, basically. You know, if you know me, if you've seen the other Pokemon playthroughs we've done over the years, you know the kind of Pokemon I tend to deviate towards. It's the big, bulky motherfuckers. And here I have Charizard, I have me fucking Blastoise, I have Dragonite now, I have Metagross. You know, I'm set. I'm happy with my team now. But at the end of the last part, we got a call from one Lysander. And he seemed to have changed his tune a little bit, didn't he? Previously up to this point, he seemed like just a good, honest entrepreneur trying to build up his cafe business. But now it seems like he's maybe taken a darker path. And he's in actuality part of Team Flare, who, as we know, have been causing us a few problems along the way. And for some reason, when we go into Lysander's calf now, we just get assaulted by the fucking staff in there.
I like the fact that the waiter said our special today is get out of here or else.
Is that a soup or? Oh, I don't know. I feel like
they should have dialogue options in Pokemon.
I'm not sure this cafe is going to get much of a 5-star rating anymore.
Well, to be fair, the hygiene does. Like, everyone, you know, they clean up.
You got to imagine they actually at least do that.
Yeah. Although I will say, like, granted, we're going to see some pretty fucked up shit coming from Team Flare over the course of the next couple of parts. But by far, their biggest crime is the decor in this calf. The fucking bright red walls. Who the fuck thinks that's acceptable?
Yeah, it's not even balanced out by anything. It's just red.
Yeah, it's just like, you know... It seems really counterproductive to a calf, because really... Like, I'm not going to claim to be an expert on interior design, because I'm not. But I do understand how colour theory works. And red is not welcoming. Red is the kind of colour that it implies danger, implies, you know, intensity. It's not a kind of sit down, you know, get yourself comfortable, keep ordering food, keep ordering coffees or whatever. Because, like, you know, although you don't want your customers to be sitting around like all day, you want to keep a constant move cycle going of new people coming in. You want them to, you know, stay a decent amount of time to keep ordering food. But if you've got that red, then it implies movement, that you just want to get up and go. I've thought about this a lot, I know. But to be fair, these are the kind of conversations that people tend to have when designing these things. Like, one thing a lot of people probably haven't clocked onto when it comes to places like McDonald's, you notice how when you sit down in McDonald's, they have sort of comfortable chairs, but not really.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's by design. Yeah, that is by design. Their engineers have specifically come up with that hard plastic that it's comfortable as soon as you sit down, but then it gets uncomfortable. And that's because they want you to stay there for a little while and then move. They don't want people just sitting in McDonald's chatting all day because they want you to make space for the next customers. So, like, that's the kind of mindset that you have with these things. And yeah, I've been talking about fucking McDonald's as we've been meeting the boss of the evil team. But, you know, it's actually more interesting.
I would like Lysander more if it weren't for the fact that his entire team looks like a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, although saying that, like, Lysander himself looks like an idiot, so it's fitting.
Yeah, but it doesn't look bad. Like, he looks like he's anime evil. It's like, it's suitable. You at least buy into it.
You expect his grunts to look the same as him, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, maybe if they had a bit more facial hair, if they had, like, maybe, like, a smaller mane than what he's got. Because he's got a fucking lion's mane, which is cool, but, you know.
It's like if going back to the whole, like, comparing evil teams thing, because, like, left off with Team Galactic with the whole, like, silly alien aesthetic, all looking uniform, Cyrus being, like, quite a intelligent villain, and then even his admins, like, have pretty good designs and are memorable. And then moving on to Team Plasma, you've got you've got that sort of knight aesthetic, which then grows into the fact that there's a sort of royalty thing at play with like the history of Zekrom and Reshiram, with them being originally being a single Pokemon, but then they met these two princes, and it was like, I like your ideals, I like your truth, I can't quite decide, and then it split itself into two. And then it's like all the royalty thing comes into play, with N being appointed as some sort of king or something. I don't quite understand the plot, honestly. And there's even like a giant castle that sprouts out of the ground.
N's castle is sick.
Yeah.
Let's be real here.
And it's like, oh, so that's why all of Team Plasma are dressed up as like knights and that. And it's like all of it matches. And then in Black and White 2, it's like a rogue faction of Team Plasma. There's like, they're very in the shadows and that. Sneaky.
Not quite Peter.
Yeah, not quite, but no, we're not talking about Black and Blue.
Well, that was fucking like.
Oh, that was stupid.
It is, but it's like, it's not even in the making a point kind of stupid. It's just like, I know Peter are actually very smart in what they do, because this kind of shit, it gets people angry, and if people are angry about something, they're talking about it.
It's like they say, there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah, I was about to say that, yeah.
It pretty much is that. That is their entire campaign, because like they're always doing things to provoke a reaction, and it works because they get a reaction every time. They've been comparing animal abuse to rape in recent cases. They've been doing all kinds of weird stuff that normal people would just think this is fucking stupid. But a lot of people do get really angry about it, and so it's a talking point. But yeah, so that's Team Plasma. Then we have these individuals.
These guys.
Yeah, which we're not going to talk about their moves too much just yet, because I feel like there's more appropriate times later on. But just their design, they are, overly obsessed with their bright orange jackets that don't even look good. Yeah, that's pretty much what we've got for them right now. Then we've got Team Skull. Let's start with Team Skull out of the Sun and Moon ones.
I love them because they're so stupid.
Yeah, it's goofy, aren't they?
Yeah, they are fucking like. Team Skull are basically your perfect cartoony, dumb villains, aren't they? And, they're the kind of ones that, in the game, they kind of have the same energy to them as, like, Jesse James and Meow from Team Rocket, I find. Like, granted, they do kind of coexist in the anime, which I've barely watched. I think I watched, like, the first handful of episodes and then just sort of... I wasn't really sold on the Sun and Moon anime, but it might have got better since then. I don't know.
I haven't paid attention to the anime at all.
Now, the anime is just sort of, it's a thing that exists to me in recent times. Like, I don't really watch much of it, I just kind of am kept in the loop about it, if that makes sense.
The leaders seem pretty cool.
Guzma's cool.
Yeah, Guzma, yeah.
He's actually quite a competent battler as well, with his Galesopod and whatnot, so like I can respect that.
Yeah, it's like there's a bit more to the team than you initially think.
Yeah.
It's like they're not exactly complex, but it's like, oh, okay.
Guzma becomes quite likeable by the end of the game, and I think that's kind of an important distinction for them. Gen 7 also has the Aether guys, with the Aether Foundation.
Yeah.
So they are a little bit more complex, or at least they have the potential to be.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that the game flat out fucking spoils it in the first time you meet them. Because when you got the shot of Lucamine just doing that evil look at the camera, that is so unnecessary. I wish that wasn't there, because I feel like that does ruin a lot of their potential development.
Yeah, because like it's not really the Alpha Foundation that's evil. It's more Lusamine at this point.
Yeah, but like I kind of wish they'd let that develop over time rather than just doing the wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Look, guys, we're bad, really. And like, then there's kind of the division within the ranks, isn't there? Because like Wick seems pretty on the level, whereas then you got Faber, who's a lot more of a problem.
It's like the Alpha Foundation is sort of half good, half evil, because like, there's Wick who's she's nice, and then Faber, it's like I get the impression he's part of the reason Sil Valley exists.
It's like some of the staff are in on it and some of them aren't. That's the impression that I kind of get, which does actually make it a much more complex team than a lot of the others, because like even Team Plasma that kind of had the split, didn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas like when you just got them coexisting in the same team, and it's kind of a bit of a distinction from a lot of the other evil teams. Now the other ones that there's been a few in the spin-offs, and I don't know how familiar you guys are with these, but like Colosseum and XD, they had two evil teams. There were Team Snag'em, who basically their gig is they steal people's Pokemon. They start and end with stealing people's Pokemon. And there's not really much to them, aside from the fact that your protagonist in Colosseum is an ex-member of Team Snag'em, and that I feel like was a bit of wasted potential in the fact that they never really do much for that beyond the first cutscene. Because that's one of the situations where having a silent protagonist really hurts the characterization, because we have questions about Wes and his role, what it was in Team Snag'em, why he left or not. But we're never going to get answers for that because Wes doesn't talk, and none of the other characters around him clue us on either. But then the other evil team from Colosseum and XD is Cypher, who are making the Shadow Pokemon, and they are one of the more threatening evil teams because they're not typecast in their teams. Like, they just use whatever the fuck Pokemon they get hold of. So you haven't got to worry about like, gonna fight like 20 Zubats in this dungeon. Like, no, they're a lot more interested in that, and that helps them. Their plan is pretty fucked up, and that's perfect for an evil team. And there's a bunch of others from the other spin-off games. Like, I can't remember much of the Go Rock Squad from Pokemon Ranger. I don't know if either of you guys have played that. Because Ranger, I played that years ago. It's a game on the DS, and basically the gameplay revolves around using the touchscreen to kind of capture the Pokemon, like by drawing circles around them while they're trying to attack you. That's okay for the most part, except for toward the end, the Charizard boss. I remember that Charizard being a piece of fucking shit to try and capture, because he's like shooting fire all over the place, and he's a proper pain in the ass. But yeah, I should really replay that, and I never played any of the sequels either, which are meant to be pretty good. But yeah, why did he try? Did I just switch in there? I can't remember. Or was
you just switched it.
I was just thinking, I just glanced at the screen and it's like, did he make a dumb? Yeah. But
what are the Pokemon Rangers? Were they introduced in Gen 3?
Yeah, they were sort of the later games from Gen 3. Like, the first Ranger game, I think is technically a Gen 3 game, but it had a bonus in that you could get a Manaphy egg that you could then trade over to Diamond and Pearl, and that is just how you got Manaphy in those games. And then obviously you can get Fiona by breeding that. But yeah, and then I think the sequels were Gen 4.
Alright, what actually are Pokemon Rangers though in the show and games?
They don't capture Pokemon. They use these devices that temporarily convince Pokemon to help them. It's like they send out what looks like a Beyblade, essentially. It spins around the Pokemon, and the Pokemon's like, yeah, I'll help you now.
Yeah, I think they're called the Capture Stylers or something like that. And I actually remember finding it amusing because when I was much younger, like alongside when I was working on camp there, I had a little personal project ongoing, which I think it was called Pokemon Control or something, and I had a similar kind of idea that predated Ranger, if I recall correctly, and I was like, your character would use these little things that looked like fucking oversized mobile phones, like the capture stylus would, and they would tame Pokemon with that. And I thought it was kind of a weird coincidence, but that's long lost to history now. And I don't actually think I have any backups of that besides from a couple of screenshots I had. But yeah, that was from the era of me fucking around with RPG Maker, which was a lot of fun, I'll say.
It's like thinking back on the Pokemon Rangers, there was one episode in Gen 4 where they help a ranger try and obtain a Heatran and try and rescue it.
Yeah,
and he can just summon a Feraligatr. And I don't mean like he sends out a signal and it eventually gets to them. No, he teleports it in. He somehow has teleportation. He has a teleporting Feraligatr. It's like a ring of water appears on the ground and then Feraligatr just bursts out from it whilst in a volcano.
Now, I can't believe we've been talking about Pokemon Rangers for so long now without talking about the obvious thing. A certain film that stars Pokemon Rangers. Pokemon Ranger and the Temple of the Sea. Arguably one of the weakest films.
It's been a really long time since I've seen it. I've only seen it once.
Okay, so there's one moment of it that everyone remembers that's like the good part, and I'm sure you know what I mean, involving
I think so.
Certain characters pulling the ability to fly out their arse.
Yeah.
But also, I suppose there is the whole advanced shipping stuff with like Ash and May and whatnot, and it is a pretty good film for that. But my problem with it is that there's so much nothing throughout their film. Like there's so many scenes where it's just like you feel like you're not watching anything. It just drags, and that film's a lot longer than it needs to be. And the story's not interesting enough to carry it for as long as it goes on. I don't know, I rewatched it a couple of years ago because I remember people shit talking it and I'm thinking I watched it as a kid. I don't remember it being that bad, not that memorable, but not bad. But I rewatched it and it's not good. It's really not good. And I suppose there's also the disappointment of that came out around the same sort of era as the Lucario film, which is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, that's actually a good one.
That's my second favourite one, just behind 2000. Yeah.
I think the weakest films are Gen 5.
Well, Gen 5, they're... like, the one I watched was the Reshiram and Zekrom one, the one that they split into two films. So that was okay.
It's okay, at best. The Kyurem and Keldeo film, that's just boring. It's just really dull, slow, and it's like Kyurem's got all that importance to it with it being the original dragon that was fused with Reshiram and Zekrom. They never delve into it. Kyurem just exists in the film and is apparently just used as a trial for Keldeo.
Okay.
There's no actual connection that's ever been built up between them. It's like apparently the swordsman used Kyurem as a test and Kyurem's just like, yeah, alright, I'll be a test if you want. But if you can somewhat knock me back, then apparently you're successful.
Well, that sucks, because Keldeo was always my favourite My Little Pony.
It's just kind of hilarious, really, because it's like Keldeo enters the battle with the entire film is just Keldeo was a bit too big for its own boots. Well, wasn't... I'm trying to think of the phrase, I think I can't out, but... Essentially, Keldeo is a bit too big-headed, goes to fight Kyurem thinking, I can beat him and become one of the swordsmen now. Battles Kyurem, immediately gets his arse handed to him, runs away scared, and the entire film is just Kyurem's irritated that he ran away and is chasing him, trying to kill him. Which should be a good film, but it's just so boring.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just made that sound really interesting after saying it was boring.
The concept sounds fun, just like Kyurem's irritated chasing down this My Little Pony, my OC, trying to kill it because it ran away.
Did they not realise that Rainbow Dash is the fast one?
It's like eventually they head back to the original arena where Keldeo fought is. Just like, alright, look, we'll fight here. Alright, I'll fight you again, we'll fight here. He's like, yeah, alright then.
Whatever.
Kyurem's just like, okay, I'm not going to try and kill you now.
That's appreciated, thank you.
Thank you, you're giving me a proper fight this time. Yeah, despite the fact that Keldeo could have at any point just been like, okay, look, we'll head back, we'll fight properly. Because clearly Kyurem would have just been like, alright.
Okay, so you're saying the films are a bit on the boring side. How do they compare to the Best Wishes anime? Because that, I remember most of it being a bit boring. You know, black and white.
Oh god, yeah, it's more entertaining, but that's not saying much. I mean, to be fair, at least stuff happens in the film.
Yeah, that's more than you can say for fucking black and white.
There's a plot there. It's not much of one, but there is actual plot.
Yeah, see, the thing with the black and white anime is it feels really fucking sterile. Like, I know there's the argument that's been made for years about the Pokemon anime being samey and whatnot, but there was at least a bit of character to it. There were a few antics going on to keep it interesting. Black and white just sort of stripped all that back, and it was just a bit, Like, I just really didn't like that anime series at all. But yeah, I think I've had many a rant about fucking black and white anime, and I feel like that's kind of why I lost my interest in it as it was going on. Because up to that point I was consistently watching it.
I mean, there is one thing that I do remember from it that was quite funny, and it's an episode with all these Behemoths.
Oh yeah, I think I know the one you mean.
It's like they mind control people, but they can't mind control Ash, Pikachu and Meowth, I think.
That's convenient.
And it's like, well, why didn't you mind control us? Turns out it's because they're too stupid.
Oh god.
The Behemoths couldn't control them because of how dumb they were.
But that sums up Ash in Gen 5 in general.
It's like, Ash and Meowth, okay, but Pikachu, really? You couldn't like... Surely Pikachu has at least some intelligence to it.
Well, I suppose Pikachu just waits to be told to Thunderbolt shit.
Yeah, but come on. Clearly, it's like if you looked at Ash and Pikachu, you would go to Pikachu for more advice than you would.
Yeah, he's the smarter one of the two, but that don't really mean much.
I know, but still.
I don't know, but like that does sum up Ash in Gen 5 pretty well, because like they made him completely fucking retarded again, which after they developed him so much in Gen 4 is kind of a disappointment, really.
It's like I just always remember the look on their faces when they find out that they're too stupid, just like utterly dumbfounded, just like, oh, well that's awkward.
Less. I'm trying to think what other memorable episodes were there from Black and White, because like, I remember the whole Meowth arc, but other than that, not really much.
First episode with Zekrom, which goes nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like Team Plasma's after Reshiram. When is Zekrom gonna fit into this? Never.
Well, that in their defence, that was because the episodes got cancelled that were going to have Plasma, and I feel like a lot of things had to be dropped and reshuffled at the last minute with that. But still, like, you know, they could have done something with him later.
Yeah, but it's weird that Zekrom is flying around and that, but Reshiram was sealed in the White Stone or whatever it's called. It's like, why is Reshiram sealed away, but Zekrom's out there flying free as a bird?
Well, again, that does kind of feel like making stuff up as they were going along, which, again, that does make sense in context of what was going on at the time. But still, like, they could have probably done something a bit more interesting. Like, I feel like because they really doubled down on making Team Rocket this kind of more serious group who actually had a chance, that kind of took away a lot of their potential for just, you know, wacky, zany antics that usually save Pokemon episodes from being too filler. But, you know, like, it's been and gone, and I feel like they did at least try to fix a lot of that with X and Y. But by that time, I was kind of a bit burned out from the anime.
Yeah. It's like the only real things I've paid attention to with the Sun Moon anime is just these occasional clips that I see, and the only clips I've been seeing a fair bit of recently is an Eevee that is in the Sun and Moon anime, because it's like it's slightly different from the other Eevees in the fact that it's got a lot more fur that covers its eyes, and it is incredibly endearing.
Do you reckon they're doing that to kind of tie into Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee?
Maybe. I mean, kind of, I think, but it's like I know that it ends up being caught by the the water leader in Alola, and it's like you basically follow the Eevee on its journey from wherever it was initially to the island where Ash and that are. It's like it pretty much meets up with them just by pure coincidence. It's just really endearing to watch because you see it making friends with a Mantine and they're surfing together, doing tricks and that, and playing. It's like, oh. And then it meets all of like Ash's Pokemon and the others. It's like it only meets the Pokemon at first, and it plays with them, and then they all go off because they have to go find their trainers and that. And the Eevee's just sort of left to be on its own asleep. It's like, go follow them, you idiots! Go!
What has Ash got on his team at this point, you know?
He has... I think he has a Torracat. He's got Rowlet. He has a Meltan.
Oh, right, yeah.
He had a Poipole for a while, I think.
It's so cool hearing that about the Poipole, because I thought it was kind of weird that they give him a mythical thing.
Yeah, well, it's not really mythical, it's an Ultra Beast.
Yeah, but the Ultra Beasts are their own thing, aren't they?
I don't remember what else he has. He doesn't have Poplio.
I take it one of the others does.
Yeah,
then.
the Water Gym Leader, because she's got that as a Primarina now. She even manages to fish a Kyogre.
What the fuck?
Yeah, Kyogre was just swimming by at the time while they were fishing. And it just sort of grabs hold of the hook and just surfaces just like, hi. There's a whole episode about it. Some guys trying to catch a Kyogre.
That's weird that they bring Kyogre.
I know,
Pokemon
it is
in.
weird. It just shows up, says hi, causes a tsunami, disappears.
Fucking rude, mate.
It's like it's got this sort of cuteness to it. It's just how it just shows up and it's got a fishing reel in its mouth. Just like, hi guys, tsunami, gone, bye.
Alpha Sapphire is that way.
Now Hoen's off in that direction, you idiot.
Oh god.
Now you guys sing Groudon.
Yeah. No, that's cool though, because it does mean that they're trying to get a bit more out there kind of stuff in the anime rather than just playing it safe to promote the games, which I kind of appreciate.
So you guys see Groudon, wanted to pull a prank on him. It's like Groudon's lost elsewhere. Someone's found it wandering around in the tall grass.
Yeah, Groudon just popping his head out of that volcano.
Hey guys, you seen Kyogre?
Why do so many of our weird tangents relate to them two?
Regular bug catcher just wandering through Viridian Forest finds Groudon. Catches it in a net.
I caught ya. Go Weedle.
I caught something. His net's just over Groudon's knee.
Oh, so this is what Metapod evolves into, right?
It's a big butterfree. Is it shiny? Oh god.
I'm glad we're laughing at our own jokes here, because it's to save everyone else the effort.
The idea of Pokemon legendaries getting lost in alternate regions that they're not meant to be in.
So great. Like, then you get back to like the logic of like in Heart Gold Soul Silver having just random legendary Pokemon just following you around, and I suppose like there are a few little things in because you can do that in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee as well. I don't know if I talked about this, but one little Easter egg there is if you're going through the Pokemon Mansion with Mewtwo following you, he looks terrified when he sees the machine that he
reacts
kept in.
to it, as does Mew.
Oh right, that's fair.
They both have a same reaction to it.
That's perfect. Actually.
It's not so much fear, but I'd say it was more. I think it was more being mad at it.
Fair. Can you blame him?
Nah. It's so this Mew that I happen to have happens to be the exact one that's been experimented on.
Well, it goes back again to the idea of whether there are multiple of them. Mewtwo, we know there are thanks to the anime, which makes no fucking sense. Yeah. But still, have you seen the more recent trailers and whatnot from the remake of the first film? Because
it's the only thing I know you don't like any of how it looks. The only thing I don't like the look of is the armour that Mewtwo wears when he's being experimented on by
That's your problem.
That's my biggest problem with it. I genuinely hate that armour design. It looks really clunky and overdone. Whereas the original one, it's sort of got this clinical effect to it.
That's fair. I just don't like the art style in general.
Fair enough.
I was picturing about this in a previous pod, but since then we've had more stuff come out about it, and it just looks worse.
Yeah.
I really don't like it at all.
It's I think it'll be fine to watch, but you might as well just watch the original. But hopefully, when Team Rocket sees Alakazam Shark, they don't. No, hopefully when they see Cypher pop up on the screen, they don't call it Alakazam.
I rode over here on my Pidgeotto.
Yeah, sure. I think you forgot when it evolved, you idiot. Still, the first movie has the best voice for Mewtwo.
That was pretty cool, though. Dan Green's one in the special was pretty good.
He's good, but I prefer original.
Yeah, that's kind of fair, because I always say Dan Green fanboy here, so you can kind of take that how you will.
So I keep getting a clip popping up on YouTube of Mewtwo punks Ash, and it's during that special episode, and it's at the end when Mewtwo's hidden all the Pokemon again, this place will hide them, and Ash says, I can't wait to tell Professor Oak, and Mewtwo's just you will tell no one. Yeah. Just end off.
Well, to be fair, that does kind of have the bit of character development with Mewtwo and the fact that he doesn't force everyone to forget that time.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's putting your trust in people and all that. But
yeah, I could wipe your memories the last time. The what? Yeah, exactly.
No, I remember quite liking that special. Granted, it has been a very long time since I watched it.
And there are baby Nido queens.
Yeah, that made no sense.
It's the best excuse you can come up with is the fact that they're clones, they're different.
It could be, it depends on how Mewtwo's gone about creating this paradise for himself, whether he's just, he may well just have a very limited scope, of the world around him because of his upbringing that, so, he recognises Nido Queen because, a trainer threw one at him. But, beyond that, he just isn't aware, so when he's artificially creating this world for himself, he just employs what he knows. Chances are it's just, the animator's fucked up, but, we'll take it as it is. Yeah, there are a few anime specials back in the day, aren't they? Because, the one I remember was on top of that, the Peachy Brothers specials from Pokémon Channel. Did either of you ever watch that?
No.
They are actually pretty fun. Again, another one that I haven't watched in years, but I remember the theme song, it's side by side, it's Pichu and Pichu. I love that song, that is fucking great.
And then there's the Mirage Master, or whatever it is. That's a bad one.
The fixed up version is less bad, but if you ever watched the first version, the first dub, God, that was abysmal. That was the one that when Pokemon USA first took over the dubbing, and it was their test piece. And there's a reason why a lot of the voice actors got shifted around after that. I remember May sounded about she was fucking 20 something. Ash was just off.
Oh yeah, Lysander's got a homeless man locked up in his basement.
Yeah, let's actually talk about this.
Also,
this
here's plot.
Yeah, let's talk about this because this is actually quite important to the plot. So we've got this gentleman here, the Pokemon that he had that went away after the Pokemon War, and that's, we've had a few different wars going on around the Pokemon.
Yeah, you got one that apparently Lieutenant Surge was in, but we never really know anything about that.
That Raichu is a war vet.
Yeah. Who knows, that could have been at it since it was a Pichu.
God.
But yeah, the most important Pokemon to this king, called AZ, is a Floette.
Well, to be fair, it's a rare colour.
Yeah, it's like... There's no other Floette that looks like it, and it also has a flower that's now extinct. And apparently, even though these are ancient times, he built a machine that could resurrect the dead.
Yeah, about that. That worked.
Yeah, Floette's just like, I look flipping fabulous.
Also, I'm not talking too much because I do just really like the atmosphere of this cutscene.
Yeah, the illustrations are very nice.
They really are, especially for the 3DS. Like, granted, they're a bit pixelated here because I've had to blow the footage up, but still.
I like the fact that this guy, he revives his Pokemon, but then he's like, oh, I'm so mad that they even killed you in the first place. I'm just gonna nuke everyone.
Yeah, this is like, it is a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah. I mean, it's called the ultimate weapon. Also, it is designed in the same shape as Floette's flower. And it should also be stated that this weapon is the exact reason for why there is now a Pokémon multiverse.
Yes. They touch on that a fair bit in the Delta episode, don't they? Like, it's alluded to.
Its raw power apparently just split timelines.
Because when there was one where it didn't go off properly, and that's why, like, the world wasn't harmed or something.
Yeah, there's one reality where there are mega evolutions, and then there's another where there are.
So the summary of what's basically happened is that he missed his Pokemon that passed away, so he built a machine to revive it, but he was still angry, so he turned his machine into a war weapon, and lots of Pokemon died, and so the Pokemon that he had revived felt bad and distanced itself from him.
Yeah, because the weapon itself also fed off of the life force of Pokemon. Hence the stones outside a Geosenge town being dead Pokemon that are basically just turned to stone because they've had their life energy sapped from them. And this is the king of Kalos. And after using the weapon, its after effect turned him immortal.
Yeah, now that's a fucking curse and half.
Yeah. And to add on top of that, to rub more salt in the wound, is Floette didn't like how he was turning out and left him.
Yeah, kind of distanced itself from him because it didn't agree with it ethically. Which, like, kind of does make sense, especially with Pokemon knowing that other Pokemon have died to, like, revive it.
And then to make things even more irritating for everyone that plays the game, this Floette, known as Eternal Floette, was never released.
Like, it's programmed into the game as an event Pokemon, but there's no way to actually get it.
Yeah, it's pretty much... It's stronger than a regular Floette, but it's not as strong as a Florges.
I didn't know that its stats were different. I thought it was just like
its stats are different.
Ah.
And it also has a unique move called Light of Ruin, I think.
I didn't know that.
I can't recall how powerful it is. I know that it's strong, but...
Look at this guy. Like, his design it looks like his face is like powdered up, you know?
It's like Eggman with no mustache.
Yeah, I was thinking that, yeah.
Yeah, in a way.
But just know, he's actually not that bad because he's got a Crobat.
Yeah, Crobat, I like Crobat a lot as a design.
And Crobat only evolves if it's got high friendship, so...
Well, to be fair, like, team loyalty can still be between wrongdoers.
Fair enough. How do you evolve a Malamar in the Pokemon world? Because the only way it evolves in-game is if you hold up your 3DS upside down when you level it up.
Do you have to go pick it up, turn it over?
Yeah, after a battle, do you have to turn your Inkay upside down?
Yeah.
Oh, it's gaining experience. Quick, flip it upside down.
I fucking forgot it was meant to be flying. Bonk on its head.
Yeah, Malamar's pretty good.
It is. I used it in my Pokemon Omega Ruby playthrough. I traded over the one that we caught in this playthrough earlier, actually.
Yeah, it's got a good ability, Contrary. It's like if a move increases or decreases a stat, Contrary does the opposite.
Oh, so it balances itself out. That's actually not a bad idea.
And one of the moves it can learn, which is pretty much a staple of any moveset that it has, is Superpower. Because that is meant to decrease attack and defense every time it's used. But instead, when it uses it, it gets increased attack and defense. So it gets stronger every time it uses Superpower.
I like this, by the way, the fact that he's baiting us into pressing a button, saying that one stops it and the other one sets off the ultimate weapon. Pro tip, they both set off the ultimate weapon.
Yeah.
And that dual button gimmick actually comes back when you fight Lysander in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon.
Oh yeah, surprise, surprise, those 3 rocks are the tip of the ultimate weapon.
Yeah. This is a cool cutscene though, I love this.
And Geosenge Town is changed forever.
Until the post-game.
No, it remains destroyed. Pretty much. Yeah, it remains destroyed the entire time.
Like, it gets fixed up a lot, like here you can see the houses flipped on their side, like I'm pretty sure they get restored, but yeah. Oh, look at the detail in that model though, all the different colours.
You can get a photo taken in front of that.
Yeah, you can. Which is fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Like, Ella just posing with this nuke.
It's one for the album.
Mum, I'm back home. You want to see my photo album? Before I saved the world, I posed with the nuke. You know, the thing that absorbed the life of millions of Pokemon. Yep. All 4 houses got knocked over.
The entire town destroyed. Oh, God.
Yeah, you gotta love how that's the equivalent of an entire town. 4 houses and a Pokemon Center.
Well, you know why it's like that.
I
It's
know.
so that it's practical to run on a 3DS. But still, we might get something a bit more detailed in Sword and Shield, we'll have to see. Okay, now if I press the blue one, does it go back in?
Yeah. Folds back up. Ah! Just keep pressing it, it gets stuck, jammed.
I keep pushing this, but the lift's not coming.
The ultimate weapon's jammed, guys. I hate it when this happens.
I was aiming it into space, but I hit Deoxys, oh fuck.
Well, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire kind of hints at the idea that the ultimate weapon is the reason for Deoxys existing.
Well, then again, then you get the multiverse issue again of whether that's the case in the OG universe or not.
Well, it's like, it's like I reckon the ultimate weapon goes off in all of them, but like only a couple of them it creates Mega Evolution. So it's like, I like the idea because it always says that a high-powered laser caused this DNA to mutate and become a Pokemon. And it's like the weapon is referenced throughout Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. It's like you trying to hint at something here? Considering we're going into space on the back of Mega Rayquaza.
I'm quite glad to see that despite the town being like completely destroyed by a massive death weapon, that the local businesses are still running.
Yeah. Gotta keep selling forward stalls.
Yeah, you know, we've got to sell all our goods, we've got to get all our shit together and sell off everything.
To be fair, you gotta keep a Pokemon Center around.
Yeah, true. But, ladies and gentlemen, join us next time where we conclude the Team Flare arc. So we'll see you then.